our culture tends to organize itself around couples. And when somebody goes through a divorce, they feel very much like an outcast. Do you have a close friend who's going through a divorce? I know it can feel terrible to be in the middle of it all. I've got some advice for you. Hi, I'm Dr. Wendy Walsh for Local Now. I have a PhD in clinical psychology, and I am obsessed with the science of love. I'm host of the podcast, Mating Matters. I know what it's like when a close friend is going through a divorce. I've seen it many times in my life. The first thing I want you to know is the idea of till death do us part was invented back when death was pretty imminent. And so it's really natural and normal for people to practice a kind of serial monogamy. Even though our grandparents may have had 50 or 60-year-long marriages, that's actually not natural for what happened in our hunter-gatherer past. Now, staying together for the sake of the kids is actually well documented, that kids do better, even in a household with bickering parents, than they do in single-parent homes where they might not have access to the same economic resources. Having said that, it's not for us to judge when or why our friends divorce, but it's happening and they're here. So I've got some advice for you. First of all, you can support the feelings of that divorce, but don't get involved in the he said, she said of a one-sided truth. We all know that there are three truths to every story. There is what she said, what he said, and what the actual truth is. So aligning with one partner's story is really unfair. You also don't know what's going to happen in the future. What if they get back together and now you've sort of colluded with your friend against a common enemy, the ex, and that's a little awkward. They're now back together. So stick to the underlying feelings. It must be so hard for you. You must feel afraid. You must worry about the kids. It's terrible to think these things, right? Just give empathy for the feelings, but don't fall into the gutter of the he said, she said. Also, still include your friend in social events. It's really interesting that our culture tends to organize itself around couples. And when somebody goes through a divorce, they feel very much like an outcast. They get invited to fewer school functions or other clubs and couple events. So it's really important, if you are a true friend to your friend, to keep including them in the social arrangements. Finally, I want you to remember this. Divorce is really contagious. It is highly contagious amongst social circles. So it's really important that while you're hearing your friends' stories about everything awful, don't let your brain compare it to your marriage. Instead, force your brain to remind itself why you're in such a great marriage, why everything's going okay, why your situation is better. It's really important that you stay conscious and aware of your thoughts and feelings during this time, because as I said, divorce can be very contagious and it runs like a virus through social circles. Anyway, give your friend love and support. Don't get pulled down into the drama, and still include them in your social events. Thanks for watching. I'm Dr. Wendy Walsh for Local Now. You can follow me anywhere on my social media at drwendywalsh.com. We'll see you next time.